One of my favorite places in the United States is Sedona, Arizona. And I know it's busy, it's touristy, it can get quite crowded, and there have been some recent changes to the dispersed camping rules that just aren't great. But I don't care. So I spent 3 weeks there. It was amazing. We enjoyed beautiful sunny days and one heck of a snowstorm. Actually, a couple little snowstorms. So during this video, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite hikes and van camping moments from our time in Sedona. It was a wild, beautiful ride. This snow is a really welcome addition to this hike. I'm actually really enjoying it. And it's pretty cool because I started out in the sand, walking through sand, different colors of sand because there's different colors of rocks here. And they're all sandstone, so it breaks down to sand pretty easily. Anyways, the snow is nice. The sand is nice. There's all these different types of trees. There's like pine, different types of junipers, oaks. It's so lovely. There's different types of cactus. There's prickly pear. There's like some little like maybe hedgehog type cacti and agave. Just such an amazing diversity of plants here and landscapes in like one place on one hike. I really enjoy that about Sedona, that I can be walking through the forest but still like enjoy aspects of the desert. It's nice. This really special meeting place of, I guess, ecosystems and landscapes. This is not far up the road to Flagstaff, where it is just pine and snow right now. I didn't really pay attention to it on the way up, but the lichen in here is really nice. This green lichen on all these rocks with this lighting. It's just phenomenal. It goes very well with the smell. It smells great in here. There's been a few different scent profiles along this canyon, and I wish I could share, but it brings back memories of through hiking. Some clear, some vague. There's a lot of nice sights at eye level and even down on the ground, but when you're in Sedona, if you keep your eye up, sometimes you spot things over in the rocks that are rather alluring to go find. And on the way there, you might follow social trails that take you not the most direct route, but to pretty sights nonetheless. And eventually, if you stay curious and persistent, you will find a way up the rocks. Warning, it might be very dangerous and involve some wild climbing, but to me, the outcome is worth it. Even if on the way up you accidentally turned off the volume input to your microphone and you can't remember what you were talking about here, but you know it involves something about coming back with your drum someday because it was such a nice place to enjoy and had amazing acoustics. So here's a little bit of me drumming while I show you this beautiful sight. that day after my hike, I was hanging out in camp with Frank enjoying the sun when he surprised me by eating my entire watermelon rind. Unfortunately, my mic was still in the wrong setting at this point, so you can't hear the just amazing crunch he was creating, but that still wasn't as surprising as the sight we woke up to the next day. But as beautiful as the snow was, we decided to spend the day in the van for the most part. We did go outside to enjoy it. Frank loves the snow. He loves eating the snow, but I didn't feel like driving. I know the way the mud gets in Sedona when it gets wet, and I just wasn't in the mood for it that day. So we just hung out, and as I expected, the snow kind of went as quick as it came, and by the time the evening arrived, it was quite a nice day. Sedona's a popular spot for good reason. It's beautiful, there's tons of hikes, it has really good energy. I mean, it's known for its vortexes. But I've never had a problem avoiding people, and I think part of that is because I'm more likely to let my curiosity guide me than to be determined to go to a spot that's famous on Instagram. But on this hike, I wasn't alone. I had a dear friend pop in to spend a couple days with me. Well, do you think the hike up here was worth it?
Yeah, it was worth it because it proved to myself that I can do things like that.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's gorgeous.
Have you ever visited ruins like this before?
Never.
Never.
Never. Like, holy.
Yeah. I'm jealous of their landscape. I wish I could live here is what I'm trying to say, because they have great shelter.
Beautiful.
Yes. And the view is to die for.
It's just incredible to think that people live like this, and that sad to think that they don't anymore.
Yeah. And that we can't, because we would be in very good shape if we lived somewhere like this and had to go up and down every day.
Goats.
Bringing up water and food and children.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, this is my dear friend Flossie, who is also a van dweller and also has a YouTube channel. We did not have the best weather during our time, and we took advantage of it to go to some of the more popular spots around Sedona. That is until it started snowing, so we decided to head back to camp where their rental van was parked. It's just puking. This is the fourth day that I've been in Sedona, and it snowed, and it's just like there are some huge flakes coming down. I mean, I love it. I'm not complaining. I love it. This is tons of fun. And it's gorgeous with the snow on the rocks here. But like, it's also kind of mind-blowing because it doesn't actually snow a lot here. And this is the fourth day I've had snow here. So, what do you think of this coming to see me in Arizona and it's snowing?
I'm surprised. I came down here for. They told me it would be warm. It's like 3 feet deep in snow back home. I guess I can't complain about 3 millimeters. You look so beautiful right now. Look at the snow in your hair.
Thank you. Frank, you blend in very well with the red earth and white snow. The next day, there was a little bit more snow than I was expecting. Like maybe a lot more snow than I was expecting, to be honest. Especially having escaped the snow in Canada to come enjoy a nice snow-free winter in Arizona. And even though it was March, I was still getting snowed on. I've been snowed on every month since October, which really isn't a problem. It's kind of funny at this point. And, I didn't mind. Frank really didn't mind. He was, he's a happy-go-lucky dude. And if there's snow, he's going to eat it. When there's snow, eat it. That's Frank's motto. Make the best of life. There was one small problem, though. This was the day that Flossie needed to return their rental van and fly out of Phoenix back to Canada. So you'll have to check out their channel to see how that went. But I decided that even though I didn't need to drive, that I would drive and that I wanted to go somewhere else to go for a walk. And well, it didn't exactly go great. I was ready to self-rescue, but before I could, this very nice man, who was very, very, very extra prepared, quickly towed me out of the ditch, and I had no choice but to just ride it out and just keep following the road until I got to a trailhead that I could get into and park safely, which was not the first one I was going to go to, but it was one that I got to, and so I just went with it. So about a mile back, I hit a fork in the trail, and I chose the path that didn't have footsteps. Two people had gone the other way, so I came this way. And it was a lot of work, and I was just about to stop and tell you that, and I crossed paths with a group of 4 people. So now I have their trail, and it's so much easier instantly. Uh, Although not quite as pretty. An unbroken trail is gorgeous. But I'm having just the best day. I'm so glad I decided to come hiking. And I'm so glad that I got unstuck as quick as I did. Well, it's been pretty neat to have this place to myself, to be the first one and possibly only one here today. But it's not exactly comfortable for sitting around and having a snack, which I really need. So I'm going to go in search of a better place. Awesome! Check this out! Not totally sure about getting down. Might be a little slippery, but I won't tumble to my death, so that's alright. So when I left the van, I didn't really have a goal of where I was hiking. I was just going away from the busier places and away from the path other people had gone. But then as I came down the pass behind me, I decided I wanted to come around and try to get up here because I'd gotten up here in the pass before. So I made it. It is gorgeous, and as much as I would love to linger up here all day, I've already been gone a couple hours, so I would like to just put my camera away and just book it back to Frank so we can spend the rest of the day together. Hi, buddy. Oh, thank you. Oh, I missed you so much. Oh, yes, I did. I missed you so much, buddy. Oh. It's your turn to play in the snow now. You want to go back in the snow? Yeah. Oh. Not only did we make it back to the camping area just fine, but we got one of the nicest sites there, in my opinion. So we spent the next 3 days just hanging out, enjoying each other's company. watching the snow melt. I spent a fair amount of time writing, which I really don't do as much as I would like to, and of course spent some time diving into Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, which I've told you about and I'm still slowly reading. But it was just a wonderful few days just watching the time pass and not getting my van stuck in a ditch. It is a beautiful day. The snow has mostly melted away. The mud is working on drying, and I'm out for another hike. I'm stoked to be out walking again. I've been walking a lot lately, if you haven't noticed. It feels really good. It is one of my favorite pastimes. And yeah, I think this is going to be a good one. This is an area I have yet to walk in all my Sedona visits. So, it's a Sunday, and I've chosen this one because one, the parking lot is small. Two, it's really not a busy spot with like the tourists and stuff. So far, I'm the only one out here. I think it's going to be a great day. This has been a nice hike so far, although a little slower going than I was expecting. And the trees there along the river, which was so nice to hear flowing water, was a bit muddy and a bit icy. And I had to go a little slow to be careful not to fall. And there was a lot of creek crossings. But now, headed towards what I think is going to be more of a slick rock trail. We'll find out. This trail is so much fun. It's really serving a variety and excitement. It's not something you want to fall off the side of. And yeah, it's pretty snowy and icy, but just really keeps me in the zone, really focused, really hard to think of anything else other than each step. Good morning. It is another beautiful day here. I'm out for another hike. I'm trying to go on a hike most days, but I lost track of yesterday because I ran into another woman hiking alone, and we got to talking and we ended up walking the rest of the trail together. So I stopped filming, but yesterday was very nice. So far today the trail is much drier, which is a very pleasant surprise. I'm getting an earlier start. So something I've been thinking a lot about on today's hike is my priorities in life and how they were a little out of whack. And that led me to kind of have a difficult time when I was in Squamish at the end of last year. I was putting Frank first, my career second. And honestly, that does not work. That will not lead to good content, that will not lead to a good relationship with Frank, and it will not lead to a good relationship with myself. So I switched things up a bit. I come first, then Frank, then living as if I don't create content for a living, then filming and taking photos because I love that, then posting on Patreon, editing, dealing with sponsors, all that kind of other stuff comes after me and Frank and our life as if we're not online. Because I just don't think living as if my life is online is going to lead to a good life or a good online life. So I've been thinking about that a lot, and I've been thinking about the thought patterns that allowed me to get into that place that wasn't good for me, working on rewriting those thought patterns, trying to eliminate the ways of thinking that lead me to putting work first, to being concerned about making money. I like making money. I like having money to spend, but I don't need a lot to survive, and I'd rather be poor and happy than anything else. So I've been working on new thought patterns to solidify these priorities so that I can thrive and be healthy and happy and have a great relationship with Frank, and in doing so, hopefully make the best content. So that's today's thoughts on my hike, and I have just come to a very seemingly popular spot. Sandals, yeah. Well, that was 7 sacred pools. You can drive right up to it. Tons of people. In my opinion, underwhelming. I would like a little bit more whelm if I'm going to be around that many people, so I left. I've seen a lot of water features in my life, so not for me. Well, in my opinion, which honestly doesn't count for much, but I think that sinkhole was way cooler than those little pools of water. So I'm back from my hike. I like to get a pretty early start, just so I can get back before Frank's hot and so we can spend the rest of the day together. I'm also like here this time of year because it's not as hot. But I also like to get an early start so I can get a prime parking lot spot. I like to preferably find one where I can open my side door and nobody can park next to me and I can enjoy the view. So I can just hang out after my hike and make lunch, which is what I'm doing right now. And Frank's laying in the sun. I'm gonna walk along all this slick rock here in front of all those tower things. It's beautiful. Such a nice day out today. It's my last day here in Sedona, so we're really gonna soak in the rest of this hike, and then Frank and I are gonna, head to the town south to take care of a bunch of our chores. Are you sick of seeing red rocks yet? I've been here for 2 weeks. I still love it, but I realize this video is probably just going to be red rock after red rock, and they might all start to look the same, but it was a beautiful day, a beautiful last day here. Well, last day by myself. I'm going to pick up my aunt. She's going to come hang out with me here for a few days. I'm already looking forward to coming back next year. I love this place. I have missed it. The next day, I picked up my aunt in Phoenix, and we returned to Sedona. Along the way, we stopped at the Montezuma's Castle site, which is really interesting. I highly recommend it if you're in the area. And then back in Sedona, we spent a few days just hanging out and visiting and going for walks. And most notably, we went to the Palaki Heritage Site, which you can only go by tour. The tour is free, but you do need a National Parks Pass or to pay a $5 parking fee. To get to the site, you need to phone and make a reservation to go see it, but it's definitely worth it because not only are there these pretty neat multi-story ruins, but there's also a ton of amazing rock art. And the guide tells you, I mean, what he knows about it. It spans thousands of years, so there's, you know, it's a lot of interpretation. We don't like really know what they were necessarily trying to depict, but he goes into the theory of all that, and he's quite familiar with the history of the area. The volunteers there are all pretty amazing and pretty passionate about archaeology in the area. So it was really nice to go back. I had actually done this tour before, but it was pretty cool to take my aunt, and we got lucky. And on the day we were there was actually a third volunteer. So we got to go to a section of rock art that I hadn't seen before and got to see some different sort of symbols that I hadn't already seen. And there was also an agave pit where they roasted the agave. So we got to see the mound from that and just ponder, is there still agave down in the pit? Well, I hope you enjoyed coming along with me for a summary of my time in Sedona. All in, I spent nearly 3 weeks there, which was awesome and diverse. I saw a lot of the area. I went on hikes in kind of like all the main sectors around Sedona. If you've never been, it's kind of a weird town where a couple highways kind of come together. There's actually in the area all sorts of zigzag of highways. It's called like the Y. And so it takes a while to drive through, even though yeah, it's not really like a very populated town, but it's busy, it's full. There's always a lot of visitors. So it has really good energy, and it's one of the only places I can handle being that's actually that busy. The first time I went there, I went for bouldering. There's actually a bunch of boulders and a lot of rock climbing, although not the most solid rock in the area. And then it got too hot for climbing, and so I ended up going hiking. This was years ago, so Frank could come with me. We were living in the minivan. And then since, every time I go to Arizona, I go back to Sedona, and I'm very glad that I prioritized spending as much time as I did there. And so yeah, that's it for this video. In the next one, I go to meet up with some van friends, so I'm excited to share that with you in a little van project. But yes, thank you so much for watching. A huge thank you to patrons. And I got a cute clip of Frank snoozing to send you off on your way, so we'll see you soon.